Well, hello there, friends. I'm Michael Keeler from Business for Unicorns. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're watching this video, that means you probably signed up for our coaching conversations course. Yay! And so thanks for signing up. Thanks for trusting me to take you through this course. If you're watching this video, it also means your coaching conversations course is probably less than a week away, which is awesome. So thank you for taking time to watch this. I think if you do watch this first video, it's really going to set you up to come to our 2-day live workshop, really kind of ready to hit the ground running. But before I get into today's lesson, which I'll try and keep brief in this video, I do just want to take a moment to share with all of you how I came to be a coach and now someone who teaches others to coach. It's really, this course is something that's one of my favorite things to do in my career these days. It's so much fun for me, and in part it's because this material I'm going to be teaching you, these coaching conversation skills, have really profoundly changed my life. That's not just a marketing message. I mean, I'm not marketing to you. You already bought the course. It's really just the truth. And so how did it start for me? Most of you know that I'm the co-founder of Mark Fisher Fitness with my best friend and business partner, Mark Fisher. And we started Mark Fisher Fitness in 2011. And one of the first services that we offered was a 6-week boot camp program called Snatched in 6 Weeks. We still do Snatched in 6 Weeks to this day. At this point, thousands and thousands of people have gone through the program since 2011, which we're super proud of. But in 2011, it was really me and Mark and maybe one or two other trainers that really made up Mark Fisher Fitness. And this 6-week bootcamp program, Snatched in 6 Weeks, is really quite an adventure for some people. It's really a transformational experience where people are working on themselves physically, working out as much as 5 times per week, and they have really hands-on interactive nutrition coaching. There's workshop materials, tons of emails to read. So it's a really kind of intense and transformative experience. And in 2011, 2012, when we were doing Snatch in 6 Weeks, I was working at the front desk of Mark Fisher Fitness, and I'd have people come up to me often in the Snatched program that were having amazing breakthroughs, that were seeing themselves as confident for the first time when they looked in the mirror, who were doing things with their body they never imagined before, who are hitting personal records for able to do their first push-up or their first kettlebell swing. And that part was so amazing from the beginning and still amazing to this day. And I knew how to do that. I knew how to cheerlead people. I knew how to give them high fives and congratulate them and give them big hugs and celebrate them when things were going well. But also during the 6-week period of this program, people were having breakdowns, who were really struggling. People would come to me at the front desk in tears sometimes, like, this program isn't working for me. I must be broken. I must be doing something wrong. I've done everything you guys have told me and I'm not seeing any results. Or clients, we call our clients at MFF ninjas. So ninjas would come to me comparing themselves to other people in their class who they see were making faster progress. And when people would come to me with all of those things, like, I would do my best to listen and try and be like an empathetic, compassionate person, but I felt like I didn't know how to help them. I didn't help them feel better about themselves or get unstuck. And so I knew in that moment, kind of in early 2012, that I was just kind of missing a toolbox. I didn't have the right tools to help our clients get the results they wanted and really deserved. And so just from talking to a lot of friends and some mentors about it, I decided to go to coaching school. And I went to a school called the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, or IPEC for short. And it's a year-long, rigorous coaching program that taught me so many amazing communication skills, many of which I'm teaching you in this course. And so that program, even when I went, was a $9,000 year-long program. You're getting a lot of that information much cheaper and much faster, because I've really dissected it over the years. In addition to IPEC, I've done a lot of other continuing education in the coaching space to help me come to my own way of coaching, my own method of coaching that I've now taught to hundreds of people, including anyone who's ever worked at Mark Fisher Fitness has gone through some version of what I'm going to take you through in this course. So the reason I'm telling you this quick story is that these coaching conversation skills have not just helped me add in a new lane of revenue by being a coach, right? It's not just helping me make money, which it is helping me do, but it's also helping me be a better manager, be a better leader, be a better business partner, be a better husband, be a better friend, right? Be a better facilitator, right? Be a better conflict resolution leader, right? It's helped me communicate when the stakes are high and emotions are high, not just in my work, not just with my clients, but in my whole life. And so this set of skills, these coaching conversation skills, have been the single greatest, have had the single greatest impact on my life than anything else I've learned as an adult. And that's just not woo-woo. I'm not going to just blow in the smoke up your butt. I really, really, truly mean it. And so I share that just to say, I hope you just get some little piece of that out of this workshop. If you can just get 1% of what I've gotten from coaching skills out of this course, I'll be excited. So thanks for letting me share my story. I hope it was meaningful to understand where I'm coming from. And let's kind of dive into the content today. I promise I'll try and keep this brief because we have 2 whole days together. But first and foremost, as you're preparing for our course, our 2-day live workshop, you should have gotten already a pre-work checklist. These are just a series of things I need you to know and understand and do before we take the course. Because this course is taught online, I want to make sure we're all clear on the ground rules, you're clear on how to use Zoom, and you're clear on making sure that you're going to be able to show up fully over these 2 days. Coaching is not something you can learn by watching. It's not something you can learn by reading about. It's something you learn by doing. And so you really have to be engaged over our 2-day live workshop, and I'm sure you will be. So make sure you fill out that checklist and click all those buttons, at least in your mind, if not on paper, before the course starts. So here's what I want to cover today. What I want to talk about today is what the heck is coaching? I want to make sure that heading into our live 2-day event that we're all on the same page about what the heck is coaching before we start to learn all the skills. So let's just dive in. I want to just start that by just brainstorming. This is often what people think of when they think of coaching. And they're not wrong. What we often think of is all different types of coaching out there. I think these are the most popular ones. But I think even before I was a coach, I heard of some of these. Certainly an athletic coach. People in all grades know that there are sports teams, and those teams have coaches. And that coach's job is to choose who goes on the team and help each team member improve individually and help them improve as a team over time. And that's a great example of what a coach does. So for many people, thinking about coaching is thinking about what an athletic coach does or an Olympic coach does. Some people have also heard of life coaching, which is kind of the wild, wild west of life coaching, where people that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And once you see the rest of these are a little bit more niche. So a finance coach or a career coach or a nutrition coach or an executive coach. And all of these are just different kinds of coaches. And what I'm going to teach you in this course is not how to be any one of these types of coaches, but how to become an expert in a process of coaching that will allow you to be better at any one of these things. So the style of coaching I'm teaching you is going to help you be a master of a coaching process without having to be a master of any specific subject matter or domain. So to take that step a little further, let me just give you my definition of coaching for the purpose of this course. And my definition of coaching for the purpose of this course is the intentional and systematic process of helping another person reach their full potential. I'll say that again. It is the intentional and systematic process of helping other people or another person reach their full potential. And those first 2 words are really important. When I talk about coaching, I really think it has to be intentional. And what that often means is there's consent between both parties, that I'm intending to show up for you as a coach, someone who's your support system, and I'm here to guide you towards your goals or towards a better version of yourself. And that you are agreeing that I'm going to be your coach. There's a consensual, intentional, that's hard to say back to back, a consensual, intentional relationship between the 2 of us. And then secondly, it's systematic. It's not casual. This is not a casual friend conversation where I'm like here as a friend and supporting you. There's a systematic process to coaching that helps you help others make consistent progress toward their full potential. Yeah. Let's take it a few steps further just by comparing coaching to a few other things, or give you a few examples at least first. So these are some common relationships where there's often a consensual coaching dynamic. If not by choice, then by default, maybe in some of these cases, but certainly a manager-employee, right? When you enter in a relationship as a manager-employee, there's some inherent recognition that that manager is going to help guide and groom that employee to being great at their job, being great as a member of that team, and maybe even helping guide their career to the next level. And so that's kind of inherent in that relationship. Same thing with a personal trainer and a client, right? Inherent when you hire a personal trainer or you hire a teacher or a tutor, right? You're hiring that person, and inherent in that relationship is consent, that your role in this relationship is to be the coach, and my role is to be the coachee in some ways. And so maybe not all you are together. Certainly a manager, an employee, or a personal trainer or client can also be friends. They can be other things to each other. But at the heart of that relationship is really a coaching relationship, really a coaching agreement that what we're here for each other is for one person to coach the other. Certainly parent and child is often a coaching relationship, but I can't say the child's always given consent. I think by birth, you've given your parent consent to coach you. But as you can see, I think the skills that you'll learn in this course for those parents who are watching, it will be useful to parenting. In fact, it's one of the things I hear as feedback from this course is people are surprised at how useful this is to do, these skills are to use with children. And then certainly coaching with a client is a quintessential example of a coaching relationship. A few other things about coaching. Coaching is often compared to therapy, and I wanted to just give you a breakdown of how I think about the difference between the two. Here we go. Sorry, having a Zoom moment. So therapy and this is a generalization, right? I'm not a therapist. I'm not speaking for all therapists, but in general, therapy really has a strong focus on the past. Often therapists are helping you kind of rummage through your past to figure out why things are the way they are today, why your mindset is the way it is, why your relationships are the way they are, and they go back to the core root of the problem. Whereas coaching often has a strong focus on the present and the future. As a coach, we'll go back to the future long enough to understand what's relevant there, but we don't rummage around there. We're not experts in helping people refigure or rephrase or reframe their past. That happens sometimes, but coaches mainly focus on now and drawing a really great vision of the future. Therapy often helps clients go from dysfunctional to functional. So whether we're talking about actual psychotherapy here or even physical therapy, I think physical therapy is to personal trainers as psychotherapy is to coaches. Yeah. So physical therapy, I'll use this as an analogy. Physical therapists help people when their bodies are legit not working, right? I've had an injury. I was in a car accident. I just had surgery. Something is not working. My body right now cannot live up to its full potential. And usually a physical therapist has to get someone to a reasonable degree of functioning before most personal trainers are able to work with them and help continue that path, either by continuing to add additional function or at the very least not backsliding to poor function. And so the same thing is true here for coaching, that a therapy will help people go from dysfunction to function, and therapy helps people go from functioning to highly functioning, right? Helping get to optimal function is really what a coach's job is. So if a client comes to you and says that, my challenge is that for the last 6 months, I've had a hard time getting out of bed every day, and I just find myself depressed every morning. That is someone that probably needs to go to therapy first before they're ready to work with a coach, as an example. Therapy is often kind of generalized, meaning most therapists, and again, I'm generalizing here about this generalization, most therapists often will work with kind of anyone on any issue for the most part, and meaning that most of the common things that people go to therapy for, depression, some common disorders, most therapists will see most people for those sorts of things. But coaching often winds up being very specific. Those examples I gave just a few slides ago, specifically about nutrition and finance and executive coaching. So far, the coaching industry has really gravitated towards being really niche, or having your business be in a very specific domain. That's not always the case, but as a generalization, that seems to be the trend. Next, therapy requires really strict accreditation. Obviously, therapists, just like physical therapists, go to school for years and years and years, and you have to have strict accreditation. And on the flip side, coaches, accreditation is really preferred, right? I went to a school that required accreditation. I've had to stay accredited to be a professional certified coach, but it's not required right now. It's a little bit like the Wild Wild West. It's really like what personal training maybe was, a decade or two ago. And so right now, accreditation in coaching is preferred, but not always required. So I hope that's useful in making a distinction between those two. Let's move on. Let's talk about the difference between coaching and mentorship. And my thoughts are similar here, but a little different. So mentorship, in a mentorship relationship, a mentor really has all the answers. And in a coaching relationship, we believe as coaches that clients have all the answers. Yeah, so a mentor usually leads with, do what I did. this was my path to success. Just walk down my path, follow in my footsteps, do what I did, and you will succeed. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mentorship is so important and can be so, so valuable. But the coaching position here is very different. Coaching position is one of leading people to figure out how they might succeed. That we believe that clients, again, have all the answers. So our job is to ask really probing questions and systematically help them learn to fish for themselves instead of just selling them the fish. Mentors, for example, must have really relevant experience. So if I'm going to mentor someone to open a gym, I should have opened a gym myself at some point, ideally, if I'm going to call myself a mentor. And the opposite is true for coaches. If coaches, as I mentioned earlier, are an expert in the process of coaching, they don't have to have relevant experience to their clients in order to help them. So I think that's a really big distinction between coaching and mentorship. Mentorship requires you to have some domain expertise or knowledge to help and mentor someone. Coaching, you're an expert in a process of coaching that allows you to work with anyone in any domain or industry, which I think is really fantastic and fascinating. All right, let's keep going. So up next, I want to dive into what coaching looks like. What are the main skills a coach needs to be great at? And I do think coaching for the purpose of this course really exists in two domains. There's a mindset component to coaching, which we're going to review today, and there's a skill set component to coaching, which we're going to cover in our live two-day workshop. So again, coaching, if I had to start at a super high level, there's a mindset to coaching. We're going to cover I think in the next slide or two. And there's a skill set component to coaching, which we're really going to cover in great detail and practice during our live two-day workshop. And these are three buckets I would put all those skills in. So three things great coaches do that are all the skills you're going to learn during our 2 days. So the first thing a great coach does is help people clarify what they want. This could be a goal, a feeling, an intention. But the first thing a great coach does during the conversation is figuring out, where am I helping you go? If I'm going to strap on this jetpack on your back to get you faster to where you want to be in your life, where are we heading? Which direction are we going? Which is part of the reason why coaches focus so much on the future, is because we want to make sure that we're clear on where we're helping you get to. So, the first step to any road trip is to figuring out, where the hell am I right now and where the heck do I want to go? And that's the first step to any great coaching conversation, is help people clarify what they want. Step number two is helping people overcome obstacles, right? So there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be challenges, both internally and externally, to anyone's journey in getting where they want to go. And so great coaches also help people overcome those obstacles every step of the way. And number three, great coaches help people commit to consistent action. I'd have to say, if I had to pick any one of these that I have found to be like the most important thing in coaching conversations, it's number three. Is the thing that most of my clients pay me for as a coach, is to help hold them accountable to taking the actions they say they want to take. Really, as you go through this program, you'll realize that great coaching is really just helping people better understand themselves and act in ways that they already want to act, right? Oftentimes, I'm not making grandiose suggestions about brand new ways people should act in their life. Really, that's rarely the case. Mostly what I'm doing is helping hold people accountable to taking that consistent action that they already know they want to take. So it's that consistent action that gets results. I often joke in my coaching conversations that, the time we spend on the phone or on video or in person coaching, that's wonderful time. And there might be aha moments and great internal work that's happening. But all of that time we spend together in that coaching session is kind of useless. It's kind of a waste of friggin' time if after that session, they don't go and do something differently, right? Great coaching sessions always result in great, meaningful, consistent action towards people's goals, with very, 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 very few exceptions. So when we cover all the skills we're going to cover during our live two-day workshop, they're really going to fit in these three buckets of helping people clarify what they want, helping people overcome obstacles, and helping people commit to consistent action. Next, I'm going to talk about the mindset piece, right? So this is the attitude. Mindset, I think of the mindset as really just kind of the attitude you approach a conversation with as a coach. So before I go into a coaching conversation, and this is true, I've been doing this for 8 years, I still think about these 6 tenets of a coaching mindset on a regular basis. They help me kind of metaphorically put on my coaching hat and decide, okay, Michael, in this conversation, you're not gonna be Michael, you're going to be Coach Michael. you're not going to have this conversation the way you normally would in your everyday life. You're going to have this conversation as a coach. So these are the 6 tenets that help put me in the mindset of being available to someone else as a coach. And they correlate wonderfully with all the skills we're going to learn during the course. But I want you to know these and really memorize these. These are at the core of what this course is all about, are these 6 tenets of a coaching mindset. Tenet number 1 is I actively listen. It's kind of a no-brainer here. If you want to be of service to someone else, if you want to intentionally and systematically support someone else, you need to listen to them. Not just kind of hear them, but really listen. And so we're going to talk a lot about that in our two-day workshop, and I'm going to teach you how to be a better listener than you ever thought possible. Next up, tenet number 2 is I am endlessly curious. So when I'm going to put that coaching hat on, my job is to be endlessly curious about what this person in front of me is saying. The reason curiosity is so important as a coach is that curiosity, in my opinion, is the opposite of judgment. Yes, I think judgment and curiosity are the opposite sides of the same coin. Yeah, when you are judgmental, you're not curious at all about things. You actually made up your mind. When you're judgmental, you're often kind of addicted to being right about something, which is the exact opposite of curiosity. And what we need to be as coaches is endlessly curious. Even when we hear things from our clients that we think is absolutely insane or like just totally floors us, our job is to be endlessly curious about it. And I'm going to help you learn how to do that in the course. Number 3, as a coach, my mindset is that I have no agenda. And what I mean by agenda is that I have no preconceived ideas for how this goes, that I don't have any skin in the game, that this is not about me. It's not about me or my ideas or my opinions. In fact, the best coaches, I think, are able to put themselves to one side while they're coaching and just be on their client's agenda. Just be available to them and understand through listening what their agenda is for our time together and our session together. That's hard to do. I'm someone, probably like many of you, who has strong friggin' opinions. I live in New York and I'm from New Jersey. I have so many strong opinions and I'm used to saying them out loud, just blurting my mouth at any time. So one of the things these coaching skills have helped me do is put aside my ideas and my opinions and just be available for someone else to be on their agenda and listen to their opinions and their ideas. Powerful skill when you can do it. Next one. When I have my coaching hat on, I am not a problem solver. This one seems counterintuitive for a lot of people because they think, well, coaches help people solve their problems. We do, but we're not solving it for them. Yeah? So this is the main difference here, and I used this analogy I think once already, but if we were solving it for them, then we would just be like a fish salesman. If someone comes up, says, I want some fish, here are the fish. What we're helping them do as coach is helping them learn to fish for themselves. Okay, well, let me help you figure out how to solve your own problems. This means asking really good questions, helping them get curious about their own lives and their own solutions that maybe they haven't articulated out loud yet. And so this is the number one struggle I see when people are just starting to coach for the first time. They get in their problem-solving brain and they're trying to figure it out for their clients. They're trying to solve their clients' problems in their brain and just tell them what to do. And it's a natural instinct. Many of you are leaders and managers in your lives. It's natural. But when you have your coaching hat on, I'm going to encourage you again and again and again to put your agenda to your side, your ideas to the side, not be a problem solver, and be available to help other people figure out how to solve their own problems. That's the best way we can serve them. Next, I believe the client is always perfect. So I believe this is true of all humans. And it's hard to put myself in this position on a regular basis while I'm standing in line at the grocery store and people are being rude. It's hard for me to see everyone as perfect. But I put my coaching hat on. I really try my best to see other people through this lens of people are exactly the way they're supposed to be in this moment, and it could be no other way. You watching this video right now, sitting down, lying down, thinking all the thoughts you have in the environment you're in, feeling the way you feel, it could be no other way. Everything you've done in your life has led you up to this moment. We're watching this video right now, and I have to see you as perfect and whole just the way you are. That's a really valuable lens to have as a coach, because again, it's the opposite of being in a judgmental place. And last but not least, the sixth kind of core tenet here of a coaching mindset is I do not have to agree or disagree. This is really important because I've worked with a lot of clients who I disagree with passionately about a lot of topics. I disagree with things they've done, things they've said, things they believe, and that is irrelevant to our relationship together. Certainly, I think many of us might want to set some ethical boundaries in our lives, and certainly we'll talk more about ethics in the course for coaches. But in general, if they didn't kill anyone, then whether I agree or disagree with them is really kind of irrelevant. You get to set the boundary where you want. But the reason that's so important is because I often hear people, when they first start coaching, say, well, that's not what I would do. I don't think that's the right thing to do. That choice they make just seems crazy to me. That's part of the process of helping people understand how to solve their own problems, is helping guide them through sometimes making the wrong choices, right? And it's not your job to decide in advance whether that's a right or wrong choice. Your job is to be there with them and support them in sometimes what is a trial and error process of them discovering for themselves how to navigate their lives. So that last one's really important. When you have your coaching hat on, you do not have to agree or disagree with your clients. Your opinion is often irrelevant. Yeah, I know it might sound a little harsh. I don't mean it that way, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so 6 tenets of a coaching mindset. We actively listen. We're endlessly curious. We have no agenda. We're not a problem solver. We believe the client is always perfect, and you don't have to agree or disagree. Again, I want you to really memorize these, keep them at heart. And throughout our 2-day workshop, I'm going to come back to these and reference these to make sure that we're really in that mindset when we're coaching others. Let's move on here, friends. I have one more, I think, distinction here for you. And this is about what I call coaching conversations versus hybrid conversations. I think of a coaching conversation, or sometimes you'll hear me refer to it as a pure coaching conversation, as a conversation where I, Michael, am your coach. You've decided you're the coachee, I'm your coach, and our time together is a 15, 30-minute, 90-minute coaching session where I am coaching you and both agreed and consented to this conversation. A hybrid conversation is one in which I might be using some coaching skills and I might be coaching you, but there are other layers at play there. There are other roles we have. So a perfect example here is when I have my manager hat on at Mark Fisher Fitness or in any of my past jobs. I am, yes, often using coaching skills. I'm often displaying lots of those tenets. I'm trying to listen actively. Maybe I'm trying not to be a problem solver. I'm trying not to worry about agreeing or disagreeing, but I might have a really strong agenda, right? That the choices my employees make have a strong reflection on me as a manager, that they might have a strong reflection on whether I make money or not, or the business makes money or not. So it's really impossible in that situation to have a pure coaching conversation because you have mixed agendas. You have mixed things that you're trying to do. You can't just only have your coaching hat on. And so that's what I wanted to illuminate for you, because this course is really centered on what I call pure coaching conversations. But part of what we're going to do in day 2 is I'm going to help you explore how to take these coaching conversation skills and apply them to hybrid conversations. Maybe that means applying them to work, applying them to family, applying them to life, applying them to sales, applying them to hiring people. And so let me just give you a few examples of what I mean. So imagine that there's this agenda spectrum. On the far left-hand side are conversations or types of conversations and topics where you have a really low agenda, meaning it's very easy for you to put yourself aside and just be on the other person's agenda. And in those conversations, I think you can use a lot of coaching skills, right? That's when like 80% or more of the conversation is made up of coaching skills. So things down at that end of what I call the agenda spectrum are things like coaching, right? Like what we're talking about here. Things like therapy, things like mentorship. So those things are often correlated because I think they are the kind of conversation where one person is choosing to put their agenda to the side, use a process and a series of skills to help and be available to someone else to help them achieve their goals. So we're using a lot of coaching skills and we're having a really low agenda. So that's at one end of the spectrum. And those are what I call kind of pure coaching conversations. This bucket in the middle starts to be hybrid conversations. So like the example I just gave is one where you have some agenda where you're at work. You can't have a really low agenda because sometimes your butt is on the line. And so you need to have an agenda. Same thing with your family. It's like you might be able to, you might be wanting to help your brother or your sister by coaching them and asking them some good questions and helping them to achieve their goals. But you also have an agenda with them because it's your brother or sister. You've got history. You might got some baggage. Right? Same thing with your friends. It's like you might be able to bring some coaching conversations skills to a conversation with your friends, but you also are trying to protect your friends and make sure they don't get hurt. Same thing with your family, ideally. Right? Your agenda is like, I don't want to see you get hurt. I don't want to see you so upset. And having that kind of agenda, wanting to protect someone, is really the antithesis of what a coach tries to do. Right? Not that I want my clients to be hurt, right? But my not having agenda means sometimes I want them to be uncomfortable. I want them to be challenged. I want them to be outside their comfort zone. And with friends and family and colleagues, that's sometimes a little harder to do. So I call this middle thing, this middle category, hybrid conversation, where you're going to use some coaching skills and you have some agenda. And on the right here, these are things where, these are kinds of conversations or topics where people tend to have a really high agenda. People tend to be really set in their beliefs, set in their ways, set in their way of talking about things. And there's barely any coaching skills happening. And so, things like debates or when talking about religion or politics, these are moments where people tend to really dig in their heels and not be of service to others. Yeah. I would like to think that part of what would make the world a better place is if during those types of conversations, people brought more of the skills you're going to learn in this course. That's my wish for the world. But as an example today of how I think about this agenda spectrum, I just want you to recognize that on the far left, we have what I'm going to refer to as like pure coaching conversations, where one or more per people are the clients, and one ideally person is the coach or the person using all the coaching skills who has a very low agenda. Then every other kind of conversation we're talking about in life is some sort of hybrid conversation where you can bring coaching skills to the table, but you have some agenda that prevents you from being completely objective in the matter. So I know this is a little academic. I know that this is maybe not what you thought you were signing up for in this course, charts and graphs and things. But I just want to give you this framework because I want to the course we're going to focus on, over the course we're going to focus on really pure coaching conversations. But at the end of it, I know you're going to want to use these skills at work. I know you're going to want to use these skills to help hiring great employees and managing your employees and building great relationships with your friends and helping your family. And so we're going to practice a little bit of that in day 2. And I think I should stop talking. I can keep talking about this forever if you can't tell. These are topics I really love talking about. And so thanks for indulging me. So that's the agenda spectrum. So here are the things we covered. We're at the end. We did it. You did it. So the things I want you to know heading into our live 2-day course are, I need you to go back and know what the definition of coaching is. I would love for you to know the common types of coaching that we covered in this slide deck. So what are common types of coaching that happen? Know the difference between coaching and therapy and mentorship, right? It's a question we get asked a lot as coaches, so I really want you to know how to answer that right off the bat. These next 2 things are the most important thing I would like you to know going into our 2-day workshop, which is the 3 things great coaches do: help people clarify what they want, overcome obstacles, commit to action. Super important. The 6 tenets of a coaching mindset, I want you to know going into our 2 days so we can go in with that mindset to all of our conversations that we practice. And last but not least, this one is just, I really want you to know the difference between a pure coaching conversation where there's consent between 2 or more people to have a coaching conversation, and other types of conversations where you'll use coaching skills, but they're not exclusively a coaching conversation. And that will matter and make more sense as we dive into the course. So those are the things I need you to know. That being said, we did it. So thank you for your time and attention. I don't know how long this video was, but I hope you found it useful. Consider this lesson 1 of the workshop. I'm doing this in advance just so we have as much time as possible during our 2 days together to really hit the ground running. So if you have any questions about what was covered in this video, just shoot me a quick email and let me know. And I think that's all for today, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so stoked to go through this course with you. And I'm here if there's any way I can make this experience more awesome for you. So thank you so much and have a kick-ass day.